Hi, welcome back. This is a series of lectures, as you know, pretty well connected to sentence, subject, predicate, main class, subordinate class, and even other concepts also. As a part of that series, now I am going to talk about SLPLE7, and it is about punctuation basics and also capitalization rules. This is purely fundamental, but you should understand when to put a capital letter and when to give exact punctuations. So very basics, but I think you need to understand these rules so that you never go wrong in that one. I've seen many students even in BTech also not writing I capital letter even when they are writing India. So capital letters are, of course, we can call it capital letters, but exactly speaking, we need to call it uppercase and lowercase. For your information, I would tell that in the good olden days, even till now also, capital letters are called uppercase or uppercase letters are called capital letters because when the printing press was first invented, the boxes that were kept in the uppercase, they all kept the capital letters, and in the lower case, they all kept the small letters. So that is the reason we call uppercase and lowercase. So now let us come back to this one, punctuation basics. They are very small marks indeed, no doubt, but they mean very big. In the course of time today, you will understand how punctuations will change the meaning. Let us eat, grandma. This is a very simple example. Usually many people would tell that one. When I say, let us eat, grandma, what did you understand? Shall we eat, grandma? Or are you asking grandma to come and eat together? So let's eat, grandma. This is how punctuations will definitely help us. So punctuation is the traffic signal of language. It tells readers when to stop, when to pause, when to ask, or when to express emotions. So with this simple slide, we will enter into punctuation basics. Why punctuation is important? That is another small question, but of course it gives you a very greater meaning. Is punctuation important? Definitely is. As you have seen a small example in the previous slide. Let's see it, grandma. Punctuation is very important indeed. Don't neglect punctuation. It makes writing clear and easy to understand, prevents confusion. This is very important. Ambiguity. Usually, uh, if at all you take another word like ambiguity, confusion that is in you or in somebody else, but whenever you communicate without any punctuation marks in writing, without pausing in speaking, comma is a short pause, dot, period, or full stop is a long pause. So whenever you are using punctuation marks in writing, you express it through a symbol, but whenever you are speaking, these punctuation marks are represented by small or a long pause. So that prevents confusion and naturally misunderstanding. As you can see, the example that I have just given you. Let's eat, grandma. Shall we both eat, grandma? No. We are inviting grandma that we shall eat food together. And it is another advantageous point is that it improves communication and professionalism. You will understand this when you enter into a job or when you enter into any profession. Naturally you need to be very professional indeed in your speaking and articulation. This I think I will discuss as a separate lesson, articulation, and this is possible only when you understand little bit deeply the concept of phonetics, and phonetics also includes this word called stress marking. When you understand phonetics, you will understand how sounds are created like plosives, p, b, t, d, all these are plosives, and based on those plosives, naturally the stress is marked. If at all you take this word people, so this is called stress marking. So this is another chapter that we'll discuss later, but here I am talking about the professionalism you're speaking and understanding punctuation, understanding all these marks. Even this is also a mark, but mark of stress. Helps readers interpret meaning correctly, and whenever it interprets correctly, it avoids confusion and it also avoids ambiguity. Let us look into some very common punctuation marks. Let us begin with a full stop, used to end a complete statement, because in the very first topic we were talking about assertive sentences, and we were also talking about imperative sentences and how these two start. These two start with a capital letter, and these two sentences also end with a full stop. So full stop is nothing but an end of a complete statement or complete sentence. The meeting begins at 9 a.m. She enjoys reading novels. And naturally, when you are speaking, full stop symbolizes long pause. Comma used to separate items, ideas, or introductory phrases. Even whenever there is a concept called parallelism, you have to use commas because you need to divide so many qualities, entities by a comma. Like he is a poet, a writer, so on, comma, so on, comma, so on, comma. You can go on writing so many things divided by comma. So that also is one of the ways how we can use comma. I bought apples, oranges, bananas, and grapes. And there is one rule in grammar that whether to use and before the last word among all the words that are divided by comma, and should be used or not. That is always a simple rule or maybe complicated rule sometimes, whether to put and or not. So after school, comma, we played football. The division of main class and subordinate class, or main class and a phrase, also we use comma. So it is not just a simple concept, but comma can be understood as a concept that would help us understand the way of dividing words, dividing sentences, dividing clauses, and making the meaning more and more comfortable to understand. And of course, as you can see in the previous slide, to avoid confusion or ambiguity. Then we have a question mark, mark of interrogation. It is kept at the end of a direct question. Examples: where do you live? Have you completed your assignment? When you are writing, you put a mark of interrogation, but when you are speaking, it should be expressed through your intonation. Where are you going? It should be going up. That is called rising tone. Answer should be falling tone. I am going to a movie. Where are you going? Rising tone. I am going to a movie. Falling tone. So in writing, you put a question mark to indicate that it is a question, but in the case of speaking, you should sound that you are asking a question. And the next one is exclamatory mark that symbolizes some sudden feelings or excitement. What a beautiful sunset. Congratulations. So this is a colon, introduces a list, explanation, or quotation. Example: bring the following items. And what are the items? 1, 2, and 3. Then you need to write a colon and write all those 2, 3 items. She had one goal: the success that she or he is thinking about. And semicolon connects two closely related independent clauses. The rain stopped, the children went outside, I studied hard, therefore I passed the exam. 2. Related independent clauses. So they are independent but they are related to each other. So here you need to understand each other is used whenever you are comparing between two, and one another is used when you are comparing among three or more. So that is very, very important, because I've seen many people go wrong as far as using each other and one another. They go across combination. They use each other with three or more. They use one another between only two. So don't do that mistake. Then we have apostrophes, quotation marks, and parentheses. That is nothing but we call in a normal language brackets, quotation marks. Whenever you use the word quotation marks, it is derived from a word quoted. Quoted means told. When you get any words that are told by somebody and you are putting them as they are given, naturally you need to put some marks, and those marks are called quotation marks because they are quoted by somebody. Here, I will join tomorrow. Who quoted that? She quoted that. She replied, I will join tomorrow. Practice makes man perfect, said the teacher. These are all the teacher's words. So when words are told by somebody, and if at all you are using those words as they are without giving any change to them, of course, that is also called direct speech, you know pretty well. And when you change them into normal third person speaking, you call it indirect speech. It's an apostrophe. Apostrophe is a word that is used to indicate possession. Ria's book is on the table, that the big book belongs to Ria, and it is raining. Here is the short form of the verb is. So apostrophe is used in possession or contracting some words. Parenthesis is used to give extra information, or we also call it brackets. So let us have some quick rules and some common mistakes here. Remember these tips in understanding the punctuation marks. Like for example, and end every sentence with appropriate punctuation, full stop, or maybe question mark, or maybe an exclamatory mark that indicates that. Use commas to separate items in a list. Items in a list or maybe designations of a person, or maybe the places you visited, 1 2 3 4 5. I visited these. All these are to be divided by a comma. Every direct question ends with a question mark, and don't overuse exclamation marks. If at all you want to use an exclamatory mark in a particular sentence, I think mostly you use only once. You cannot keep on using the exclamatory mark many times in a sentence. Use apostrophes correctly for possession and contractions. So here actually the use of apostrophe is a bit more complicated and also the most misunderstood punctuation mark in English language. Let us discuss this whenever we are talking about question tags or some other concepts. It is not the end of understanding this one, but a basic rule that I am giving you in this class. So what is the golden rule that you would remember? Correct punctuation makes your writing clear, accurate, and of course powerful. And I also use another word that it becomes more effective. Every rule that you learn, every exercise that you practice should help in making your writing, speaking, or understanding of English language more and more effective. So this is a simple conceptual understanding of all the punctuation rules in a very brief and in a very basic way. As we go further in our next class or subsequent classes, you would understand how punctuation marks should be used properly. For now, bye.